IVM.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, your peak performance coach, life coach, emotional intelligence practitioner, and NLP practitioner. I'm also the founder of Abzo Expertise Unique, and my organization constantly aims at building leaders across continents. After having worked with so many dynamic business honchos, entrepreneurs, startups, CEOs, management gurus, parents, and student communities worldwide, I am convinced that every individual has unleashed potential, and all we really need to do is realize it. Watch the magic unfold, enhance quality of life, relationships, and professions. On my show, be ready for some riveting conversations with inspirational people, snippets, stories, and much more. So here I am on this exceptional journey to find empowerment and inspiration anywhere I can. Come join me on this breathtaking path of self-realization, potential maximization, positivity, and most of all, embrace your inner power. You are on your way to empowering yourselves. Welcome to the Empowering Series with Zarina Poonawalla.
People don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad bosses. An age-old saying, but always resonating with the corporate structure, whether a startup, an MNC, SME, or any other. Of course, we all have our own perceptions on the good and bad when it comes to organizational behavior. However, I'm not here to tell you where you are good or where you are bad. I'm here to share some common mistakes managers make, which cost them their employees. Managing people is not an easy feat. And while managing your organization sounds great in theory, practically it can be quite a task and a daunting one. Managers seem to be equipped on paper to take up responsibility. However, after very many conversations with employees over the years, through coaching, I have come to conclude that it is not your management degree alone that helps you in this position. It is your consistent value addition, compassion, task mastering, and empathy amongst other traits that help you achieve that balance of productive yet happy employees. When employees resign, one of the top reasons for their resignation is their relationship with their manager. However, if you are a manager, you surely will have your reasons for dealing with your team in a certain manner. And I understand where you come from as well. Because sometimes you're faced with employees who never think anything is good enough. Nothing you do is enough for them. Nothing you can do to make them work harder or please them is good enough. And that can be frustrating. So yes, I completely understand, empathize with your situation. But if you are a manager or a boss, look out for these red flags, as I'm going to point out exactly those common mistakes managers make with employees. And if you stop making those mistakes, or at least if you reduce those mistakes a little bit, you will have a stronger team with lesser rate of attrition. Micromanagement. One of the most common mistakes, and I'm sure while you're listening, you already are telling yourself, oh gosh, that's me. Well, micromanaging, I dare say, is one of the biggest mistakes a manager makes for various reasons. It makes your employees feel untrustworthy and incompetent. It makes you bad at delegation, and eventually your employees become complacent and irresponsible, knowing very well that you will do the task anyway. So while you may want to micromanage, be very selective about the tasks you have decided to micromanage. Lack of communication, and that includes listening. When you assume that you have good interpersonal relations between you and your employees, but in reality, maybe you have been shut ears and mouths to your employees' issues. Maybe you haven't been paying attention to the communication. Maybe you haven't been listening well enough. So think again and make sure that communication is never an issue, because that mistake is one every manager and every organization pays for. Lack of guidance and clarity. Just imagining that your employee should be a taskmaster without giving them any guidelines or clarity. See, employees require you to help them create an actionable plan with clear goals and expectations. And that is your job. That is what you need to do. Once you have been able to push them in the right direction and they've started walking in the right direction, then you're on autopilot. But until then, it's your job to make sure that you're guiding very clearly each and every person, hand-holding them in the process till they are on their own. Being respectful. This is really crucial. I've been to many organizations, and this is one of the things that hurts me the most when I listen to it. Employees feel disrespected, and I wonder why. Every employee working with you deserves to be respected. Oftentimes, one's designation takes precedence over their attitude, and that can cause employees to feel demeaned and disrespected. So please, practice humility as a daily ritual and make sure that you're not carrying your anger or your baggage or your negativity or your toxicity to work and throwing your weight around on your employees. They are not slaves. They are being paid to do something that they are skilled to do. And hence, you must understand that respect is a two-way street. Focusing on your position over your profile. Your job is not to let your team know who the boss is. Your job is to let them know you are there to be their shield and their spine when push comes to shove. So as a manager, I'm going to urge you to indulge in some self-reflection to understand whether your behavior needs to be better, whether you're doing the right things, whether you need to sit down with your employees and take some critical feedback on what could change and actually make some actionable plan towards that. Lack of a basic bond and rapport with your employees. Being oblivious to your employee as an existing human being can be very disheartening, and you will also come across as extremely arrogant. So learn to check in on your people every now and then, because it creates a world of a difference for them. I'm certain some of these will resonate with either an employer or manager or a colleague or employee. If you want to avoid these mistakes, pick one and start working on it consciously with all intent and all will. At the end, people don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. Be safe, be well, be empowered.
If you liked this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's been a really, really great week on the network. Let me make a couple of recommendations to you guys. Agla Station Adulthood, they have an extraordinary episode on relationships. Ritasha and Ayushi, as always, do a bang-up job. I think you'll really enjoy that conversation. Check out Edges and Sledges, where DJ Ashwin and Varun have been talking to fans from different IPL teams on every episode. It's a really, really interesting project they've taken on during the course of the IPL. And as it comes to a conclusion, I'm sure you'll love to hear their thoughts on the tournament as a whole. I want to mention Uncle Please Sit. They had a really great episode which dove into why is pollution so bad. And I think that given the circumstances we're dealing with right now, it makes a ton of sense to listen to that. Cyrus had a really great week on his show as well. On the Monday episode, he spoke to Raj and DK about all kinds of stuff. He was in one of their early movies. Definitely a fun conversation to check that out. And finally, let me talk to you about the Wire Talks with Siddharth Bhatia. We're very excited about this show. On the first episode, Jairam Ramesh is there having conversation with Siddharth Bhatia about the legacy of Indira Gandhi. I think you will really, really get something out of this. Do give it a listen. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
We're your family WhatsApp group's worst nightmare. We're what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel,
and me, Tushar,
every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.